Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome friends, welcome dear students, dear learners. Myself Dr. Ajay Semilty from HNB Gadwal University, a central university, Srinagar Gadwal in Uttarakhand. I am here with you to discuss novel drug delivery systems in a series of lectures. And we are beginning the series of lectures with this lecture in which we will be giving the basic concept of NDDS. So let us enjoy this journey of learning with me. Okay, I'll be there with you to discuss the things, and we will be focusing on the things with special emphasis on the exam point of view, you can say. So let us start our discussion. After completing this lecture, after learning this module, you will be able, number one, to distinguish between dosage forms and delivery systems, differentiate between different modified dosage forms, identify the reasons to develop NDDS, novel drug delivery system, and identify and learn the desirable properties of drugs for developing drug delivery systems. What are the lesson plan? So what is our lesson plan is that drugs, then dosage form needs and generations we'll be discussing. After that we'll be discussing the modified dosage forms, advantages, disadvantages of dosage forms and novel drug delivery systems and ADS. Now first see what is drug or API. API means active pharmaceutical ingredient. Definitions are available there in the various regulations, federal regulations of the national and international scenario. But in general, these are the chemical compounds with pharmacological or other direct effect intended for use in diagnosis, treatment or prevention of diseases. Okay. They are also called as generic names or international non-proprietary names, INN. Say for example, you take crocin. Crocin is a branded name. What is the generic name? Paracetamol. And the paracetamol is basically the API, that is the drug. Okay. Now you might have got what is the API. Okay. Now let us move to the dosage form. Active drug along with excipients in a physical form for any pharmaceutical or therapeutic use in a particular dosage and meant for delivering the drug to site of measurement or systemic circulation and not to a specific region or site of action. Got my point? And remember these uppercase letters. These are the things which are making them different from the entities. Okay, we will be also reminding you in the coming slides. What are the needs? Why we develop the dosage form? Because API cannot be used directly for clinical purpose. Why? There are the reasons. API handling is very difficult or rather impossible when you need a dosage of very few milligram or in microgram quantity. Accurate drug dosing is difficult or impossible. Handling as well as that dosing. API administration is impractical, infeasible, or not as per the need. Other reasons, like they are not stable. When you are just taking the API, they are not stable to the environmental factors like light, moisture, etc. API can be degraded at the site of action, that site of administration, like low pH in stomach, they may degrade there. They will be either metabolized very fast or may be degraded by any means. API may cause local irritation or injury at high concentration at the site of administration. So that's why these are the reasons why we need the dosage forms. Another reasons, some other reasons you can say that API can have unpleasant or organoleptic qualities like taste, smell that lead to the non-compliance. They leave no chance for modification, especially for the when there is a need of improving the pharmacokinetic profile. You cannot change the pharmacokinetic until you are preparing a dosage form. So what are the basic differences between the conventional and controlled release dosage forms? We are moving from generations. So first generations, there are two generations. First generation, however, there are three generations rather, but we will be focusing firstly on the first generation are the conventional dosage forms. They disintegrate, that the disaggregation occurs of that particular dosage form, and there occurs dissolution of API, and all these are spontaneous process. This is spontaneous process. Remember this thing, red letter word, spontaneous. Okay, this word is making it different, or enabling you to distinguish it from the second generation drugs or dosage forms. Drug absorption and distribution is based only on the physicochemical properties of API here. While in the second generation, the release of API is under control of the drug delivery system. It is called temporal control. What are the advantages here? It avoids fluctuation of plasma drug concentration, which is the peculiar case in case of conventional dosage form. There are peak and valley effects. We will be seeing it, okay, in the coming slide. There are better safety and efficacy are provided by the second generation dosage forms. They provide the decreased frequency of drug administration. Often once daily administration is required in the case of second generation dosage forms, and hence the better compliance is there. Patient love to take a drug once daily rather than taking 4 times or 5 times or 6 times a day. So it may overcome some problems with bioavailability in certain cases, and it can be much more economical, better cost effectiveness in many cases. Now, what are the differences? You can see in this graph, plasma concentration time profile curve is there. Time is in x-axis, and you can see that this, this is the graph which is moving here. For the conventional dosage forms, a peak followed by a valley, and so on. While these CR and SR, controlled release and sustained release, are the second generation dosage forms. You can see the kinetic is different here, and the dissolution profile is certainly different and significantly different. So that's why they are called the second generation dosage forms. As we can see again here, the plasma concentration and time profile curve. The peak and valley effects are there in this curve. If a drug is being taken 3 times a day, you can see 3 peaks and 3 valleys will be there. Okay, these are the peak, valleys. While in the case of second generation, the peak and valley effect will not be there. Okay, so it ensures the maximum drug in the that is effective zone, you can say, thereby allowing the more and more doses to be used for the therapeutic purpose. Okay, now let's take this modified release tablets, or modified release dosage form, you can say. In the USP/NF definition, modified release dosage forms, one for which the drug release characteristics of time, course, and or location are chosen to accomplish therapeutic objectives not offered by conventional dosage forms. The modified release dosage forms may be classified in two types. This is the exact definition of modified release dosage form by the USPNF. What is the message? Learn the definition verbatim. You have to learn the definition verbatim and it is asked in the question. The first thing you have to do is to learn this definition verbatim because it is going to come certainly into the your examination. Okay. In each and every exam, this definition is asked or it is a part of a long question. Okay. Now we are discussing the two types now. First type is extended release dosage form. Of that modified release dosage form, the first type is extended release dosage form. It can be defined as the one that allows at least a two-fold reduction in the dosing frequency as compared to that of conventional or immediate release dosage form. For example, the control release or sustained release tablet. In the USP, CR and SR, there is no difference between the control release or sustained release as per it comes in the definition of extended release. Okay. Second is delayed release dosage form. USP, United States Pharmacopoeia, defines it as the dosage form that releases a discrete portion or portions of drug at a time or times other than promptly after administration. Example is anti-coated tablets. Anti-coated aspirin most of the cardiac patients take. They are the example of delayed release dosage form because due to the anti-coating, the drug is released not in the GIT, rather its release is delayed and the release is only in the intestinal portion, not in the gastric region. Okay. Dosage form, let me remind you, active drug along with excipients in a physical form for any pharmaceutical or therapeutic use in particular doses and meant for delivering the drug to site of measurement or systemic circulation and not to a specific reason or site of action. We studied this in a previous slide. Why I am reminding it? Because now I am going to compare it with the NDDS, no drug delivery system. NDDS, they are the active drug along with the excipient in a physical form for any pharmaceutical or therapeutic use in a particular dosage and meant for delivering the drug to a specific region or site of action or with some additional pharmacokinetic benefits to systemic circulation. The drug delivery is assisted by a certain device of a polymeric system in NDDS. So you can have the difference. You have to be very clear that what is the difference between the dosage form and the NDDS. These two things are very important. You must know the difference between the dosage form and the delivery system. Now let us see again summarize it that dosage form not to a specific reason or site of action, that is dosage form. When a specific reason or site of action or with some additional pharmacokinetic benefits assisted by a certain device of a polymeric system, it is NDDS. So these are two basic important difference between the dosage form and the NDDS. Okay. Hope you have got the thing now, and it is very important to be very clear when you are answering the question, especially with respect to the difference between these things. Now let us see some examples. What are the dosage forms? There are tablet, capsules, suspensions, emulsions, ointments. All these are dosage form. What are the delivery systems? Transdermal patches, nanoparticles, microspheres, aerosols, implants, IODs. All these are no delivery systems. Now next question comes in our mind. For which kind of drug we should prepare the NDDS? Now, what are the ideal characteristics the drug must have so that we can prepare the NDDS of that particular drug? Remember the thing, you cannot make the NDDS of each and every drug. The rationale must be there. First thing is, we prepare the NDDS for the drugs with low biological half-life. Say for example, the ranging between 2 to 4 hours. We go for that thing. So you don't go for NDDS for the drugs which are having very low biological half-life or very long biological half-life. Say for example 15 minutes, 10 minutes biological half-life there, or 12 hours biological half-life. In both the cases, you should not go for development of NDDS of that particular drug because it is completely irrational. Why? Thank you. Simple answer is there. So I'm leaving it on you just to think that what might be the exact reason behind that. Next thing is drugs which are metabolized with the first pass metabolism at a high level. They may be taken, or they are the good candidates. Rationality is good behind them. Instability in a microenvironment or route of administration. If in particular route of administration it is being degraded, say for example, if you want to take a drug orally and in the gastric environment it is being degraded. If a protein is there, you want to deliver insulin will be obviously, it is going to be degraded into that gastric environment. So what we have to plan, we have to give through some other means, some aerosols or some other delivery systems. So other factors include programmed and continuous drug delivery when it is needed. You prepare the NDDS. In case of low bioavailability, you go for the NDDS. The drugs which require the site-specific drug delivery, in case of anti-tumor, okay, when you are going to target the tumors. However, we will be discussing the targeting and target delivery system in the coming modules. But yes, it is the advanced form of NDDS. For near expiry patent drugs, for patent protection also you go for that. This is wonderful rational, you can say, and why we go for the NDDS, why many companies go for the NDDS. We have developed a drug and it is going to expire very soon. Its patent is going to expire very soon. So what the companies do, they prepare some novel drug system of that particular drug and file the patent, and by that way they can protect the patent and that revenue to their part. So this is a good technique practiced by the pharmaceutical industries to have maximum benefit for their patented drug molecule. Now NDDS, what are the physicochemical and biological properties of drugs? We have discussed little bit in this thing, and all these things can be derived from our previous discussion. So I'm leaving it on you that please chalk it out. What are the physicochemical characteristics and what are the biological properties of drugs are desired for preparing the NDDS. Okay. Now, what are the important components of NDDS? Drug, polymer, system, release mechanism, routes of administration, and targeting. These are the important components when we are planning novel drug delivery system. What are the advantages of NDDS? First of all, a low dose is required. First pass metabolism avoided. And dosage frequency is reduced. You do not have to take it twice a day, thrice a day, 4 times a day. Just once daily doses may work for in that case. And continuous targeted delivery you can have in NDDS case. Okay. Programmed drug delivery, we can have the advantage. You can also have the better bioavailability with the NDDS, and they are safer with least adverse drug reactions. What are the disadvantages of NDDS? Obviously, they are, first of all, most of the time they are expensive. Might be due to the cost of the carriers involved, polymers involved, okay, the devices involved. Dose dumping is another scenario, as you might have seen in case of controlled release dosage form. Actually, we are providing a dose which is required for throughout a day, and once daily dose is being given. If in some case the polymer system failure is there, what will happen? The complete doses will be dumped at a time to a particular site, creating an overdoses and several adverse drug reactions. So the dose dumping is a disadvantage, and however it is not always there. There is chance of dose dumping, okay, associated with aerosol for the very first time. He or she must be medically supervised to take that aerosol properly, or for even for inhaling that thing you must have to tell them properly, and several examples are there. It is not possible, as I have mentioned, to design NDDS for every drug. You have to be very rational when you are preparing for NDDS. Now friends, let us discuss that what we knew so far. One thing, that what are the drugs? Drugs are the chemical compounds which are intended for therapeutic action, and which when mixed with these API, when mixed with excipients, they make the dosage form. Okay, these and dosage form has the two generation, first generation and second generation. Okay, first generation spontaneous, second generation temporal. Okay, then we move to the NDDS. The NDDS has the site specific and the polymer assisted delivery, in which pharmacokinetic can be altered, and we can have several advantages which can't be derived with the first generation or the second generation dosage forms. We must know what are the advantages of NDDS over the conventional dosage form. And from exam point of view, this is very important. Dear students, always learn by heart. It should be on your tips that what is the definition of dosage form, what is the definition of NDDS, what is the advantages of NDDS over the conventional dosage form, or the disadvantages of conventional dosage forms as compared to the why we are going for the NDDS. The rationale must be known with you. So we learn NDDS, novel drug delivery systems, and their basic concept. In our coming modules, we will be discussing about the targeting and their application in the drug delivery. Thank you for being with us. And with this, I am again reminding you our homework, that we have given you the homework that please, that biological and physicochemical properties of drugs for developing NDDS you will have to prepare. Thank you for being with us, and stay tuned for our next lecture, which is going to come very soon. Thank you.